station of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are St. Louis.
Shelby Miller and Adam Wainwright couldn't have been much better over the weekend. They allowed just 3 hits in 2 games on Friday and Saturday. Yesterday, St. Louis struggled against the Rockies, but won the series against Colorado 2-1. Matt Carpenter and company welcome the New York Mets for the first of 4 beginning tonight. Baseball coming up next. It's another beautiful evening for baseball in the Midwest. The Cardinals hosting the New York Mets, Game 1 from Busch Stadium. The Mets are led by David Wright, the face of the franchise, 6-time All-Star, and off to a very good start this season. Glad you're with us. Rick Horton with Al Raboski. The Cardinals' story so far this year has been their starting pitching. Very good 1 through 5 in their rotation. The Mets, on the other hand, have been led by Matt Harvey, kind of a one-man show. In his 8 starts, he's 4-0. The rest of the starters, just 4-14, high ERA, and a number of home runs allowed. The Cardinals in Game 1, Al, will go with Lance Lynn.
Lance Lynn is off to a great start in his own right. He did have his 10-game winning streak snapped last time out. That goes back to his last 5 starts of 2012 and his first 5 starts this year. But the good news is he's won 6 straight games here at Busch Stadium and overall has a 12-5 record at home. And the Mets are not swinging the bats very well.
Fans filing in here at Busch Stadium, just about ready for the first pitch. It's coming up next on Fox Sports Midwest.
Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buzz. See your Mid-America Chevy dealer or log on to stlchevy.com. Dobbs Tire and Auto Center, #1 for quality tires and expert auto service. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by Steak and Shake, just no equal. Perfect night for baseball here at Busch Stadium. The crowd still filing in. Game 1 of a 4-game series tonight. The Cardinals have won 10 of their last 15 games. The Mets streaking in the other direction after a very good start to the season. The Mets have lost their last 3 and have won just 4 of their last 15 contests. Yadier Molina and Mike Matheny all smiles in the Cardinals dugout. Yadier Molina was hitless yesterday and had his 11-game hitting streak snapped, but Al, he has just been the leader of this club. David Wright leads the other team, but Yadi doing a little dance with Adam Wainwright has certainly been the leader for the Cardinals.
And you mentioned that David Wright is hitting the ball well this year, but boy, they are really struggling. Their outfielders had a combined .212 average, and that's why they went out and got Rick Ankiel today, and he'll be starting in center field. Couldn't make it with the lowly Houston Astros, got released and picked up by the Mets. What does that tell you? What does it tell you about Marlon Byrd sitting on the bench?
Really been a struggle for New York. About 2:29 here this afternoon. We have some highlights for you for what was happening out in the Cardinals bullpen. And it was Chris Carpenter throwing a 15-minute bullpen. 8 to 10 players watching him. Carpenter throwing, it looked to me, Al, close to 100%. And talking pitching with Wainwright, very, very good sign.
Well, apparently what happened was he was just playing catch with his son. And all of a sudden the arm felt pretty good. Somewhere down the line, remember he's had some back and some hip issues, but he got an injection in the hip, and they think that may have been triggering the nerve problem in his shoulder. Since they got to take care of that, he's, feeling and throwing pain-free.
Adam Wainwright, there's his wonderful moves. I guess this is a new one. I don't remember seeing that. A little King Tut action, I guess.
And I guess since Westbrook's on the disabled list, he had to do it with Yachty. I think Yachty was trying to, I got to get my head in this game a little bit. You starting pitchers, you get to take 4 days off, but when Wainwright's on the mound, he's all business.
I think he's a little left-handed. We just don't know it yet. But here's the Mets batting order. Mike Baxter leads off. He's the right fielder. Daniel Murphy, solid hitter, plays second base. Both hit from the left side. David Rice hits third. Ike Davis, Lucas Duda, and John Buck off to a good starter in the middle. Ricky Ankiel, as we mentioned, just joining the Mets here today, will be in center field and hit 7th. Ruben Tejada, the young shortstop, bats 8th. And Jeremy Hefner will pitch and bat 9th for New York. The Dobbs Cardinals defense has Beltran, Jay, and Holiday in the outfield. And David Freese, Alan Craig at the corners. Daniel Descalzo getting the start at shortstop here. And Pete Cosma's been very, very versatile and very, very dynamic all season long at that position. But Descalzo getting the start. Carpenter at second, Molina behind the plate. And Lance Lynn pitches for St. Louis.
Lance Lynn won 5 straight games. He lost his last time. That broke that 10-game winning streak he had dating back to last season. He's won 6 straight games here at home, and he has a 12-5 record lifetime against or pitching here at Busch Stadium. And the last 2 years, he's won 23 games. That's second most in all of baseball.
Here's a look at Rick Ankiel, and we understand that Rick Ankiel showed up at the park today with 0 equipment. So everything that he has is borrowed.
There's kind of a quick deal. I think he got released about 4 days ago, or put on waivers about 4 days ago from Houston. And he got here quickly. He's in the lineup. He was even saying that he wasn't sure he was going to get another shot, but he's got that opening. Now make the most of it, Rick.
Good for him. First pitch, strike 1 to Mike Baxter. And this one's underway. Temperatures right at 71 degrees here at game time, and really just a very clear night. Very few clouds in the sky. Some shadows with the earlier start. There's a line drive to center field, and fighting those shadows to make the play is John Jay. Daniel Murphy, like many of his teammates, in a bit of a slump, just 171 in his last 10 games. Career 300 hitter, or close to it, for the Mets. He had 320 2 years ago. There's a line drive to right. This is trouble. And it's down, cut off by Beltran, and it'll hold him to a single.
Murphy had been 130. 7 for 54, 1 RBI his last 14 games. Left-hander, you normally think about a low ball hitter. Set up inside, and that ball kind of in the middle of the plate, 92 miles an hour, right in the middle, and hit on a line, but this time it falls in.
You're going to beat the Mets. You want to contain this guy. 297 batting average for David Wright, 5 home runs, 23 RBIs. And a very high on-base percentage, too. He will allow himself to be walked, but when you don't have much else around you in the lineup, I think the Met fans want to see him just swing the bat.
Well, but you usually get in bad habits by doing that, expanding the zone, getting yourself out. He is second, tied for second with 25 walks in the National League. Got the high on-base percentage, and all 5 of his home runs this year have come on the road.
We had that same conversation about Joey Votto, who likes to walk too, and the thought is, well, maybe you should expand his zone to try to drive in more runs, but you become a different hitter, don't you?
Yeah. See those shadows? Probably not as bad as they might look for the hitter, because it's fairly dark there.
Sinker misses inside, 2-1.
Shade him a little bit to hit towards right field. Indication they may be pitching around him or pitching him outside.
Baxter with 3 stolen bases. Mets do not run very much. There's a swing and a miss. He blew that one by David Wright. Actually, Murphy the runner at first, and he has yet to steal a bag. Mets run a little bit more than the Cardinals, but not much. This offense really is station to station, and they have not done a good job, Al, collectively, of moving runners over, and they have a hard time manufacturing runs.
Yeah, with the Cardinals have hit so well with runners in scoring position, it hasn't been that well for the Mets.
The 2-2. Swing and a miss. He strikes out David Wright. First strikeout of the night for Lance Lynn.
And that looks like a swing trying to expand your zone.
And Wright comes up empty.
As a tire service with our replay is a good delivery outside, hitting, got his target away.
Mets started off decently this season, but they have just gone into a tailspin. And one of their problems has been the production of this batter, Ike Davis, hitting in that cleanup spot. He's the first baseman. First round choice in 2008.
A 145 average in the cleanup spot. He's been struggling over his last 18 games, hitting under 200 with 24 strikeouts and only 3 RBIs.
When you don't get production behind David Wright, that hurts David Wright. Molina sets up outside, and he misses that corner. 1-1. Molina again behind the plate for game 1 of this series. Mike Matheny saying yesterday that there would be a time that we will see Tony Cruz in this series. Have to wait and see which game that will be. Molina's been an Iron Man.
I would think it may be the day game on Thursday. That way, get more hours of rest from Wednesday night to Friday night.
It's a little bit like Jim Edmonds with that stance. Wide stance, way back in the box, almost out of the box. You wonder how he can generate power with that kind of stance. Jimmy did. But
Jimmy had his weight further back.
Sure did.
And Very tough sun field for the right fielder Beltran. Good pitch there.
Behind in the count here, 3-1. Davis does have 4 home runs. There is some power in this Mets lineup.
All 4 of his home runs have come in his home ballpark, which they moved in the fences a little bit.
Off-speed pitch, misses low, so a 2-out walk puts Murphy into scoring position and brings in Lucas Duda. Duda playing left field here tonight, 27-year-old left-handed batter. A lot of lefties in the lineup tonight, including Rick Ankiel, we already mentioned. 5 lefties against Lance Lynn. And I have not really noticed the splits of Lance Lynn being one way or the other as far as left and right. He just seems to be kind of the same both ways generally. So I'm not sure that's going to be a problem for him.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Seems like when Lance pitches best, he challenges hitters.
Slider low. Duda has become a very patient hitter, and some would say too patient. Lost a little bit of his aggressiveness. He has extreme raw power. That's how he's described as a hitter. But thinking more of a on-base percentage type approach this year.
He's hit well on the road, as that graphic showed you, and a little bit what you're talking about. 133, 4 for 30 in May with 11 strikeouts and just 1 walk. Although he does have 21 walks on the year.
We've seen him do it before. When he hits them, they go. Hitters count here, 2-0. 2 runners aboard in the first. And Lance Lynn having trouble finding the strike zone.
He's picking. And you know, like we said, when Lance is pitching best, he's just going right after hitters, attacking them. Wonder if Molina giving some of these hitters a little too much credit. Cardinals know them quite well from the close proximity in spring training between Jupiter and Port St. Lucie.
We swing 3-0, not offering, but it's a strike on the corner, 3-1. Lance Lynn trying to come back and get Lucas Duda. 8 home runs, 12 RBIs. Those are odd numbers. 8 home runs, 12 RBIs. That's almost impossible to do. Murphy and Davis the runners. The 3-1. There's a breaking ball right down the middle. Full count. The runners will be moving.
Yeah, no stranger to going deep into a count. He's first in the majors, seeing 4.50 pitches per plate appearance.
Breaking pitch is, did he go? No, says the third base umpire. It was called just inside, and Laz Diaz says that Lucas Duda did not offer, so back-to-back walks for Lance Lynn, and the bases are loaded here in the first inning. Asking for trouble. Tim Timmons is our home plate umpire here for game 1. The crew chief is Mike Winters. He's at first base. And a big opportunity here in the first for John Buck. Veteran catcher has 10 home runs on the season, and the bases are loaded, and he swings at a high fastball a little bit late. Strike 1.
John Buck got off to a great start. All the home runs, and now it's kind of just dwindling down. Still has 29 RBIs. All 9 of those 10 came in April.
Another swing and a miss. He too has struggled lately. Can't catch up to the high hard one.
See, this is what you like to see, but they got John Buck out there, and they're just throwing fastballs by him. Fastball's up, but he can lose one.
The 0-2 misses low. Good pitcher's spot there. Off the plate, trying to get him to chase. Buck had that all-star year in the American League in 2010. Does have power. Late on that swing again and fouls it back. Lynn is not one of those high 90s guys that the Cardinals have, but he can rush it up there every once in a while.
Probably lives as a starter between 92 and 94. There you see the back-to-back shutout twins.
How good were they? Oh, man.
Outstanding.
That was fun to watch. I'm not sure which was more fun to watch.
I think Shelby's was.
The 1-2. Swing and a miss. He strikes out Buck. And he strands 3 Mets here in the first inning. Lance Lynn, not pretty, but he gets the job done. Couple of strikeouts in the inning. This one of Buck, a big one. No score. The series, Matt Carpenter leads off for St. Louis. He'll play second base. Carlos Beltran in right field. Matt Holliday hits third in left. Alan Craig, Yadier Molina, and John Jay in the middle. David Freese starting to swing the bat better. Hits seventh. Descalzo eighth. And Lance Lynn bats ninth for St. Louis. Carpenter a 5-game hitting streak. And he is in there against Jeremy Hefner. Hefner, a 4-pitch pitcher, and he cannot get a break.
Now he's 0-4. Not a bad ERA. And he is from our neck of the woods. He's from Perkins, Oklahoma.
And he's behind Carpenter, 2-1. That pitch a high strike. I understand he has 20 to 25 people from Oklahoma here to cheer him on.
I'm sure he does. And it seems like teams get up on him early in a ball game. Then they'll turn around. They'll see after 6 innings, you know, he's kept his team in a ball game, but you just haven't got him into the win column.
Interesting how some starters are like that. You get to them early, and then they do settle down, and you wonder whether they're just ready or maybe not exactly at full throttle yet. But he does walk Carpenter to lead this off. And here's the Mets defense, brought to you by Dobbs. Lucas Duda, our old friend Ricky Ankiel in center, and Baxter in right, Tejada, Murphy, and Davis on the infield, and Hefner and Buck the battery. Ankiel signed it just today as a free agent, and he is using Robert Carson's glove, a relief pitcher in center field. No equipment.
I just wonder if he was not at home, out of town someplace after being released from Houston.
Hard hit. Ankiel on the run in the gap, and he runs it down. And you know he's got an arm. Watch out. You know he had fun throwing that ball back into the infield. Ankiel wearing number 16. One of his favorite players as a child was Dwight Gooden. That's why he's wearing 16 as a Met.
I bet it was one they gave him. But he loves to throw and show off that arm, and why not? Think about what Rick Ankiel did, the success he had as a pitcher, and then that 1 year with the Cardinals when he converted to the outfield, hit 25 home runs. The only comparison you can make from that, winning that many games and hitting that many home runs, is Babe Ruth. And a lot of difference in between, but that's the only one that really made that comparison. I think his win is at least 11 wins and 25 home runs.
Not a lot of other guys can come close to doing what he did, Al. That's one of the most amazing things I've seen at the ballpark in the last 20 years is what Ankiel was able to do to come back as a hitter. And clearly his career not over yet, playing center field here. Matt Holliday at the plate.
I think we've got to put one little disclaimer. I think we all know some guys that were pitchers that were good enough hitters that maybe could have done that, but they didn't have the problem pitching that Rick did. So they stayed pitchers.
Still has a lot of fans.
Yeah, and I don't want to take anything away from what he did accomplish either, though.
Absolutely. Hard hit, watch out, up the middle. Hefner has to duck that one, and that was scary. A bullet up the middle off the bat of Matt Holliday, and the Cardinals have 2 runners aboard. And I'm glad that he ducked.
I think all those fans of Mr. Hefner are very thankful that this ball misses him also. Right in the middle, and tries to make that sweep. Might have broken his wrist or hand if he would have hit it. But ball through carries in there, and he knew enough to duck.
That side view, a really good look, Al, at just how little time the pitcher has to react.
Well, the other day I was in the Mo, our general manager's office here at the ballpark, or his suite, and they have a device that determines the velocity the ball coming off the bat. And Matt Holliday is registered as the second fastest all time, hitting the ball 115 miles an hour coming off his bat. Stanton is number 1 in all of baseball at 117.
Understandable. Breaking pitch is a strike to Alan Craig. That evens the count at 1. Cardinals very good with runners in scoring position all season long, especially in the early going. 323 as a team. The Mets actually are in the top third in the league, just to show how good the Cardinals have been. Mets are in the top third at 259. Hefner has his sign, delivers high. Well, it's a strike. Strike zone seems to be floating a bit for me.
You just kind of wonder if the strike zone is going to float for a while, and then you figure out what it is. A little bit up and in, and he gets the call.
I'm not even sure I'd want that pitch if I was Jeremy Hefner.
You liar.
Say, no, I don't want it. The 1-2. Hard hit to left, hooking, and it's fair. Down the line and into the corner. Here comes Carpenter. He'll score.
It's a ground rule double. Bounced into the stands.
Ground rule double, 1-0 St. Louis.
And we can see from our vantage point that this ball was fair. Not by much, but it is fair. And then it bounces into the stands.
So the Cardinals break out on top, 1-0 in the early going. Yadier Molina hoping for more.
That would have been, he should have had another RBI without it hitting into the ground rule double. Mentioned Yadi lost his 11-game hitting streak, but time to start a new one.
Cardinals didn't get much of anything going offensively yesterday against Jorge De La Rosa, who had a no-hitter going into the 7th inning. Holiday the runner at third. Craig at second. Molina at the plate, and he fouls it off. Our Toyota keys to the game here. The Cardinals in the month of May, on-base percentage is the best in the National League, but they've also left the second most runners on base at 81. So the ability to drive them in, not quite as good as it was in the first month of the season. Although you get that many guys on base, you're going to strand some.
You have to. I'd rather have the opportunities and take my chances, especially when you're hitting, and as well as this team is, 323 with runners in scoring position. So, interesting thing, Ricky, is Hefner, he has really settled down, you know, when he gets 2 outs. Opponents are hitting .057 with 4 walks and 4 strikeouts when they have 2 outs against Hefner this season.
A lot of talking into the gloves going on there on the mound, wondering if they're changing the signs. Yadi, like the rest of his teammates, has been very good with runners in scoring position. 389, including 15 RBIs. Hoping to add to that number. The 0-2. Yadi has played in 35 of the first 36 games this season as a catcher. Very unusual. Fights that one off.
Seems like Hefner living awful high in the strike zone, which is going to be trouble.
Really not an overpowering guy either, Al. He's a fastball, sinker, slider, changeup guy, kind of a normal guy that doesn't really get it up in the mid-90s.
That's why I'm saying it could be a lot of trouble for him if he continues to get that ball up.
Breaking pitch, hung a bit. Yadi fouls it off.
See Buck just trying to get him to get the ball down. His fastball's been up a little bit, and as you said, he doesn't have the velocity to do that at this level.
Yadi at 421 in the month of May, second to just Marco Scutaro of the Giants, who's hitting 463 this month. The 1-2 to Yadi. This is the inside corner. Backs him off the plate. 2-2.
Mets are 0-6 this season when Hefner starts. And he has allowed 8 home runs in 35 innings pitched this year.
Really been a problem for him.
Yeah.
So he had Yadi 0-2 and asked to talk to the catcher, and they had a little conference and put all their gloves over their mouths and talked about things, and now it's 3-2. Sometimes I wonder whether that throws a pitcher off, gets you thinking about the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Slicing foul. Mike Matheny, 42-year-old manager for the Cardinals, his second season at that position, and he likes what he sees so far. The full count pitch to Yadi is low for a ball, and that loads the bases for the Cardinals. They've already scored a run, and now John Jay, who is 14 for his last 31, will have his first plate appearance. It's Holiday at third. Craig at second. And a walk to Yadier Molina. Bases full of Cardinals. And now we're going to have an even bigger conversation on the mound.
Andy Wathan, pitching coach here.
And the whole infield joins him.
I'm sure he's telling them that, you know, you're just, by walking people, you're just asking for trouble. Right-handers batters were only hitting 171 against him. Left-handed batters 358 with 6 of the 8 home runs.
We expect the Mets to play at double play depth in the middle of the infielder, and that's where they go. And also back at first base is Ike Davis.
They're going to be back a little further at the corners.
John Jay takes strike one, and he really has improved his approach at the plate. Numbers getting much, much better for John Jay.
9-game hitting streak.
Flare to left. Could be deep enough. Holiday tags, and here he comes. And they're going to cut it off, and they're going to get Craig in a rundown. But Holiday scores before he's tagged out, so the Cardinals pick up another run on the sacrifice fly. 2-0 St. Louis. And they run themselves into an out here, Al, to end the inning, and very, very close is this call.
Well, dude is not noted as a very good outfielder, and I know Mike Matheny wants the guys to be very aggressive, but you've got to wait and watch to make sure that throw goes a lot deeper than that and find out. And that run almost did not count. And Craig, really, the way he played it, he couldn't get in the rundown because he ran right up on David Wright. David Wright got that throw, and he knew he had an out in front of him, and he took it.
Good thing Holiday ran all the way through that at home plate. Our first take, team record since April 25th. The Mets 4-11. They are tied for the worst in the National League. We talked about their struggles offensively, and with their pitching staff, the Cardinals on the other side 10-5. That's the best record in the National League over the last 15. In fact, the Cardinals still have the best overall record at 23-13 in the National League. Start play in first place, a couple of games on top. The Mets in fourth. And here is Rick Ankiel. How about this? This is fun to watch. And I'm sure very fun for him. A lot of strikeouts, however, Al, when you look at his numbers with the Astros this year.
Yeah, he's got still got some pop, but there's an awful lot of swing and misses in his stroke.
hitting just 194 for the Astros this year before getting his release. And the Mets taking a chance on it. But he has always had not only the great arm, but really the raw power too to go along with it. Jammed, he fouls that one off. And remember, Walt Jocketty during his tenure here was asked, who is your best power hitting prospect in the minor leagues? And he said it was Rick Ankiel when they first sent him down to the minor leagues out to see if he could do this, and everybody thought he was crazy for saying that.
Yeah, and that was before anybody really saw what raw power he does have. And I can remember what a difference in the minor league farm system, because in a sense you kind of said, well, that's a pretty good indictment against your minor league system. But you have a guy that big league pitcher, he turns to hitting and he's your #1 power source. But we've seen now the Cardinals minor league system is a lot deeper than it was back then.
No question. 2-2 the count to Ankiel. Also deep in the box. Wide stance. Familiar stance.
Lance doesn't seem like his normal self right now either, does he?
Not yet.
And that's what you got to hope. He's big and strong. You just kind of pitch through it.
Full count, and he misses again. That's the third walk in the last 4 batters for Lance Lynn. And a leadoff walk to Ankiel.
Seemed like the couple days off really helped Shelby Miller and Adam Wainwright. Is it having a negative effect on Lance Lynn?
Good question. Lynn lost that last outing in Chicago to Travis Wood, though he pitched very well in that game.
2-1 game. So, I mean, he could have been the winner in that one very easily.
2-run home run to Nate Shearholtz. Made him a loser, but 8 strikeouts against just 1 walk in that game.
I guess he would be pitching with only 1 day extra rest.
Ruben Tejada, young infielder, swinging at the first pitch. Offs it into right field. Beltran makes the play.
See 32 pitches already, and there's been 2 or 3 Mets that have made outs on first pitch.
A couple of schools of thought on that, Al, as Jeremy Hefner, who's not a very good hitting pitcher.
0 for 10 with 8 strikeouts.
So you've got a pitcher who's walked 3 out of 4 batters, and you're the 8th place hitter. Do you swing at the first pitch?
8th place hitter? No.
Others, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can't say, oh, hey, skipper, you know, I saw the pitch I wanted. I thought I could drive it out of the ballpark when I pop it up to shallow right field. You know, if you hit a screaming line drive someplace and it's caught, well, maybe that's okay.
Got to make a better case for it, don't
Right.
you? Bunting situation for Hefner. Fouls the first one off, and this one gets down perfectly. Craig will tag Hefner going by. That advances Ankiel to second with 2 outs. For a St. Louis sports fan, this is your dream job. You could be the next Fox Sports Midwest girl. Log on to foxsportsmidwest.com/girls for details and the chance to be the next Fox Sports Midwest girl. Back to the top of the order, and Mike Baxter, he flew out in the first. And Baxter, what I think of most when I think of Baxter, I think of him getting hurt, making a great play for Johan Santana in his no-hit game against the Cardinals in New York. He made a diving play, saved a hit, ran into the wall, and went on the disabled list.
Remember that now. You talk about it, and also talk about that no-hitter that should have been a one-hitter.
That was the first in Mets history. All the great pitchers that they've had over the years. Gooden, Seaver, Kuzma. Just so odd that they never had a no-hitter.
Who did you like? Do you like Kuzma or Matlock?
I like Kuzma and John Matlock.
Both of them are good pitchers, but Kuzma were a little bit more like you. He threw a lot harder.
Who didn't? Thanks for reminding me, Al. 2-1 to Baxter.
Kuzma was a very good pitcher.
And when you think of Mets, you have to think about some of the rivalries from the 80s as well, when both the Cardinals and the Mets were in the same division at the time. The 2-1.
You know, I was in the pregame show. We showed a lot of video and had some commentary where guys were saying, I just didn't like that team over there. Strawberry and Darlene were sitting there saying, we hated Red. We didn't like the Clydesdales. We didn't like, you know, Ozzy was saying, yeah, those guys over there, they every time they'd pop off and say something dumb.
Another walk.
Lynn wants to talk to Yachty, but look at all the fringe, all the leather straps and strings. You would think that most guys would clip that off or trim it off or something. I've never seen a glove with that much.
I don't believe I have either. I'm sure there's a reason for it.
If he was from the Dominican, we'd think that maybe he had some Haitian friends that made that glove and turned it into a voodoo doll or something.
Looks odd. Just looks. Usually you have somebody that kind of trim it up for you. If you don't, guys are meticulous about their glove.
Hey, when you're a platinum glove winner, you can do whatever you want with your glove. Seems like it'd be distracting to him. It's gonna be one of these games. If Lance Lynn can't find the strike zone, he's not going to be in there for long.
40 pitches already for Lance Lynn, and he's behind Daniel Murphy. Pretty good pop from the left side, and there's a strike.
Not the ratio you want to see, but I guess when you're in the second inning with 41 pitches, nothing's going to be too good.
Gap is in right center for Murphy. The 1-1. That's high. A lot of pitches up in the zone, just not hitting his spots at all in the early going, and you just hope that Lance Lynn gets that feel at some point. And sometimes, Al, you just get it. You just magically get it.
In some games you just don't.
That's right.
But
making an adjustment.
You know that you keep on working on it. Boy, Ankiel had such a big jump. He was more than halfway. There you see the swing and miss. See what Yachty was reacting to was how far Ankiel was off with a secondary lead, but nobody for Yachty to throw it to.
Ankiel, yes, Rick Ankiel and Mike Baxter, the runners. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Curveball just misses the outside corner.
But you know, when you've walked 4 in an inning and 2/3, you're not going to get those borderline pitches.
Lynn came up with a pitch with the bases loaded and 2 outs in the first. 2 runners aboard here in the second. They'll be off with the pitch. The 3-2 breaking pitch, bounce to the right side. Craig can't get to it in time as it bounces foul. Cardinals and Mets are 14-14 against each other since 2009. So very evenly matched.
Evenly matched, but just about every category the Mets were a little bit better. But they just had the 14-14 overall record.
Another long half inning for the Cardinals defense behind Lance Lynn. As is signed, the 3-2 is hit hard to right field. Beltran on the move, and he can't see it, and he can't catch it. And it goes to the wall. 2 runs are going to score.
Boy, if you think about it, and I'm sure Beltran feels horrible, but when he went over, the worst spot in the ballpark was right where that line drive was going. He's got the glasses down, but it was a line drive right in the only sunny spot in the right field outfield.
That ball was stung by Murphy, and Al, I agree with you, perfectly placed. There's the sun field.
And it gets right in that area, and he loses sight of it. And with it being so hit so hard, I don't think he got a piece of it, did it? You know, it looked like he closed the. Sure, it was kind of where he thought the ball was going to be and just tried to snap at it, but came up empty.
The Mets have tied at 2-2 here in the second inning, and Lance Lynn maybe doesn't get a break on that ball that could have been caught, but really has himself to blame with the 2 walks this inning. And 4 overall. A lot of pitches for Lance Lynn. There's a ground ball up the middle, not well hit. Descalzo can't make the play, and here comes the runner from third, and he's going to score. Heads up base running by Murphy, and the Mets take the lead 3-2. Wow.
Going to be a base hit, and Derek Lilliquist will come out and talk. And RBI, you really can't put an error on this ball. It's just heads up running. Comes in here. It's a do or die play for Daniel. It gets underneath his glove. It stays down on him. And Murphy never hesitated going around third base. So he goes flying around third base. It's all one continuous play. And he looks there right there and comes on home. So it's a base hit and RBI for David Wright. And a third run crosses the plate this inning.
Sloppy start so far for Lance Lynn. 48 pitches already, and only half of them strikes. And we talk about a pitcher's ability to make an adjustment, Al, and kind of get it as quickly as you can and get back on track. So far, that's eluding Lance Lynn.
No doubt.
David Wright runs well. Not a big lead at first. Davis fouls that delivery straight back.
His father, a very good pitcher in his own right, particularly the days with the Yankees, Ron Davis.
Threw hard.
Did a lot of setup work for the Goose.
He'd been on the '87 Twins team.
Yep.
If memory serves.
And that would be a bad memory, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's why I don't want to talk about that anymore. We're done talking about that. 1-1 to Ike Davis. Again, short lead for David Wright. Hands on his knees. He's going to let Ike Davis swing away, and he misses that pitch up and in.
Cardinals were just befuddled by the fact that they only had 3 home games to the Metropolitans 4.
Are we talking about that thing you said we weren't going to talk about again?
Yeah.
The '87 World Series. 1-2 to Ike Davis.
I said Metropolitans, but I meant Minneapolis.
Lynn is set, and the pitch. Off-speed pitch low. And we're seeing a fair number of off-speed pitches from Lance Lynn.
I think too many.
Maybe so.
But I also not seeing the location with the fastball either. So now he's trying to find something.
In Shelby Miller's game, when he threw his shutout, he was missing high to the first 2 hitters, if you can think back that far. And then he made a quick adjustment and was just perfect after that. And that adjustment still eluding Lance Lynn as he misses high to Davis. Another full count.
Like 53 pitches into the game, you should have your Mechanics down. You should feel comfortable with the mound.
And you know he's trying to make an adjustment.
Oh, no doubt.
Doing everything he can mentally to get back on track. And there's a hard hit ball to center. John Jay has it in his sights. And the Mets are retired in the second. Some decisions down the road for Mike Matheny as his team trails 3-2. Six is a serious number. When the Cards score 6, you can score any size coffee, fountain, or frozen drink for just 50 cents the next day at On the Run. And while you're there, be sure to stop by On the Way Cafe for breakfast biscuits, hot dogs, sandwiches, and more, only at On the Run. Jeremy Hefner has had a hard time getting any run support this season, but he gets 3 runs in the second inning, courtesy of some wildness by Cardinal starter Lance Lynn, and he's back to work against the bottom of the Cardinals order and David Freese.
After having received 10 runs of support all year long. And hard to win when you don't have any run support.
The numbers for David Freese, not what you would expect, but lately seems to be getting more on track, a 4-game hitting streak.
He played in such few games in spring training. He's been trying to catch up here during the season, and that's difficult to do.
It seems like the power stroke is starting to develop a bit for David Freese. And here's the haves and the have-nots. Jeremy Hefner, we mentioned, Al, 7 starts, very little run support, just 2.6. Lance Lynn, on the other hand, 6.9. Cardinals are going to have to do that to help him out here tonight. Here's a line drive to right field. That's going to drop for a hit. And David Freese now has a modest 5-game hitting streak.
So you got to start out with 1 and kind of keep on building, but get the leadoff man on. Scalzo got a big pinch hit yesterday, builds his confidence, but David gets things started here in the second. I think when David goes back to hitting the ball to right field is when things start clicking.
He thinks right field, drives it to right field, then he reacts to a pitch that he can pull as opposed to thinking that way. And that's where he picks up some of those home runs. And it'll come. Daniel Descalso also trying to get on track. His average below what you'd expect. Daniel's always been a heady player, a hard-working player, and you'd expect he'll figure it out.
He had to figure it out late last season. He swung the bat well in spring.
Sure did.
Then the start of the season, and I thought his comments were right on in the fact it goes, you know, I'm a team player and I can't ask for time when I haven't been fielding well and not hitting well, and the other guys are doing the job and I'm supportive of them.
Ground ball right side, base hit through the hole. Freese is thinking about third. There he goes. And Cardinals with runners at the corners to start the second, trying to get those runs back. 3-run top of the second inning against Lance Lynn, and he will bat with 2 runners aboard.
You can see he bounces this one through the right side. David sees that it's going to go through, and when he's approaching the bag, the throw is just starting to get the ball. And Mike Matheny's pushing guys, wanted them to take extra bases. I thought that one was a no-brainer, and he came in there without a throw. Right fielder threw it a low enough trajectory that Daniel Scalzo couldn't go to second.
Lynn looking to sacrifice the runner to second. He has 4 successful sacrifice bunts already this season, and he takes ball 1. So this is not a squeeze situation. Kendo flashing the signs to Lance Lynn.
Yeah, really trying to get the second runner in scoring position. Scalzo at first. Doesn't mean David Freese can't come home if it's put in a certain area.
1-0. Bunted past the pitcher. And David Wright has to field it. That'll advance the runner Descalzo to second, and just maybe David Freese could have scored on a play like that. Gold Glover at third and David Wright. But
yeah, that's the other thing. I think that you were trying to accomplish what you did accomplish. And if David Freese would have got thrown out at home, we'd all be complaining. So even though it looked for a moment, once the veteran David Wright got that ball, and I'm sure he's kind of in the corner of his eyes looking to see if David Freese is going to come home.
So sacrifice 5-4 advances Descalzo to second. Matt Carpenter with an RBI opportunity. Open stance of Carpenter. Really done a good job of getting on base. That's what you want out of your leadoff hitter.
Yeah, since he's moved to leadoff spot, and on base percentage is really continued to go higher and higher. So he's taken a lot of walks.
Infield back for the Mets. There's a line drive, base hit to left, past the shortstop. Freese will score. Descalzo stops at third, and the Cardinals showing some offense here in the second inning. RBI base hit for Carpenter.
Descalzo at second base. He's got to make sure that ball goes through. Then he'll take off and go to third. He's rounding it, but Oquendo had held him up. Duda, not a very good outfielder, really not a very good first baseman, but his best asset is his throwing arm.
Carlos Beltran takes a curveball for a strike. The Cardinals have tied this game in the bottom of the second inning after the Mets took the lead. Beltran flew out in the first.
Like I said, left-handed hitters came in batting .358 against Hefner.
And a number of home runs to go with it. And there's a long one pulled down the right field line, hooking foul.
6 and change from left-handed batters. 6 of the 8 home runs.
Beltran 343 career home runs. That pitch almost hit him. I don't know how it didn't.
Yeah.
Here's the numbers you were talking about earlier, Al. The first 3 innings of the game, high ERA, and then he settles down a bit after that.
Yeah, I mean, he'll give up typical, he'll give up his 3 or whatever, how many early in a ball game, then all of a sudden after 6 innings you look at, say, well, that's all he gave up. That's what he did in the first 3 innings. like to keep on punishing the ball.
Carlos Beltran looks so comfortable in the box from the left side. Uncomfortable swing there. Fouls it at the plate. Don't see that kind of swing very often from Carlos.
It's funny because, like you say, he's so graceful and elegant in everything that Beltran does. And then you see a swing like that where he looks like he's chopping wood. Setting him up for this pitch.
Setting up inside, and the pitch misses that inside corner.
If you're going to miss, that's where you want to miss, inside.
It's the spray chart for Carlos Beltran as a left-handed batter. Very few to third base. That's why they put the shift on it. And a lot of balls pulled to right, 37%. And that spray chart is something, Al, that teams will study. It used to be done by hand, but now it's done electronically, and they know the tendencies of all hitters. And that's part of the reason David Wright way off the bag at third. And a ball outside and another walk. That'll load the bases for Matt Holliday, and now it's Hefner's turn to ask for trouble. Descalzo, Carpenter, Beltran.
Rick, you talk about those charts that used to be done by hand and have a colored pencil, a scheme for every pitcher, and I know Whitey used to do his own charts, and that's why he knew defensively where he wanted everybody to play, because he did all those charts himself. Said it didn't take that much time for him.
Big swing by Holliday, comes up empty. 0-1 to Matt, who singled and scored in the first inning. Big RBI opportunity for him here. Holliday with 21 RBIs on the season.
Holliday, with the help of his mother, doing more good work in the community, getting awareness of colon cancer.
Ground ball up the middle. Shortstop has it to second for one, and on to first, and Holliday has bounced into a double play. The Cardinals strand a couple, but they tie this ball game. A slow game so far. Both pitchers struggling to throw strikes. MLB.TV celebrating 11 years with new low yearly prices. Watch every out-of-market game live on over 350 supported mobile and connected devices in HD quality with MLB.TV Premium. Visit MLB.TV today. MLB.TV. Baseball everywhere. Lance Lynn has labored through the first 2 innings of this game, allowing 3 hits. The problem, however, the 4 walks. He has had a hard time keeping the ball down. A couple of birthdays to tell you about. Ruth Ross, 97, big Cardinal fan watching this game today, and a very big happy birthday to Lida Belo from Bloomington, Illinois, celebrating her 100th birthday today. A lifelong Cardinals fan. How about that?
And we gave her a shout out on Friday night 3 days early. She's that much of a partier.
How about that? She worked until she was 97, carried the Olympic torch in 2002. Happy birthday, Lida. Fly ball to center. Jim Hayes along with us today. Of course, we have him on the pre and the post game. But Jim, you have some news on Rick Ankiel here in a Met uniform tonight.
Yeah, he arrived at the ballpark just prior to the Mets taking BP, as you guys mentioned. No equipment. It didn't arrive, so he borrowed John Buck's bat, Scott Rice's glove. He doesn't know whose spikes he was wearing. And he said after he was released by Houston, he wasn't sure he would get another opportunity. Obviously, he's happy to have this one. Ironic is how he described this new opportunity starting here in St. Louis. He says he's still got a lot of friends here, and he looked forward to catching up with some guys.
And he's such a talent, guys. Jim, I'm sure he's thankful for this opportunity. And I'm also assuming he knows what New York is like to play in.
Yeah, he really just wants to play. He felt bad about the way things were going in Houston. He realizes at the plate he hadn't found his consistency. Says the power was there, but he felt like maybe he got a quick hook in Houston because it was early in the season. But he thinks in New York, and he knows it's the biggest stage, maybe he'll get a shot to get things going.
Thanks, Jim. Al, we've talked about this Met outfield really struggling. Really, every one of the outfielders that they put out there have struggled. They're just looking for anybody to get some production.
Yeah, it's just, I was told that their outfield collectively were hitting .212. And you think about Marlon Byrd, the veteran who was sitting on the bench. Some of the guys that, it's a great opportunity for Ankiel, but wow, another walk.
That pitch not even close to John Buck. Walk number 5 for Lance Lynn, and this is getting to the point for Mike Matheny and Derek Lilliquist where they're going to have to start thinking about number of pitches and how far can they go with Lance Lynn.
Well,
4 is 3-3, but you can't go forever with him, and you're going to have to get some innings in your bullpen.
And I think they got arms down there that are ready and wanting to get in this game, but I think Mike Matheny and Derek Lilliquist want to get at least 5 innings out of Lance. There's the Vulture. Seth Maness, 3 appearances and 2 wins already. This could be a perfect one to get number 3 in, but he throws strikes.
0-2 on Ankiel, and he's also been conditioned as a starter. And you look at other guys in that Cardinals bullpen, really even Joe Kelly can go a lot of innings, and Carlos Martinez has been a starter. So really you've got a fair number of guys out there that aren't specialists that can pitch 2-3 innings if need be.
Well, one of the problems you got is you got John Gass making his major league debut tomorrow, and
good point.
Usually you always want to have a lot of fresh arms when the youngsters making his major league debut, because I'm sure the butterflies and everything will be flying, and if he averages, you know, he's been pitching a lot down in the minor leagues, but it'll be a different story up here. And not so much once he gets on the mound, but until he gets on the mound, you just, everything going through your mind.
Ankiel tips that ball, but Yadi hangs on, so a strikeout for Lance Lynn. Our Twitter poll from AT&T here tonight. Who will have the biggest impact on the pitching staff? Will it be Seth Maness, Carlos Martinez, or John Gast? All your Twitter folks know how to vote. Is it Maness, Martinez, or Gast?
And we might say that too, that the reason John Gast is here is because of the disablement of Westbrook. But that was just really a precautionary. He'll probably miss 2 starts.
Jake was very forthcoming in his post-game sound last night talking about that. And he said, look, I've had a sore arm here basically since spring training. I've had some feeling, but that comes with being older and it comes with pitching. So it just got to the point where it's too much, but it really isn't something to worry about. So he was very open about it. And he said, look, I'll be back in 2 weeks. So John Gast, here's a look at him. He's got to be excited watching his
Remember, he made 5 starts for Memphis in April and did not allow a run.
Really impressed in spring training. Getting a shot here in this series against the Mets. Not really a big guy either,
no.
Alan. For folks that have not seen him, we saw him in spring training, and he's listed at about 185 pounds, and I'd say that may be pushing it. Doesn't throw particularly hard, but is really, really gifted at changing speeds and has good off-speed pitches.
I'll be anxious to see what he's doing different, this year than what we saw in the past, and particularly in spring training. But he also has an excellent pickoff move.
Fly ball to right. Beltran has it. That'll do it for the Mets in the top of the 3rd. Fairly good inning for Lance Lynn. Much better. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Schnucks, your neighborhood hometown grocer. And the Chipotle Chicken Club Combo is back for a limited time at Jack in the Box. Try one today for fries and a drink. Just $4.99 plus tax. Busch Stadium. Love the statues, the history of this organization. First pitch low to Alan Craig. Craig, Molina, and Jay in the Cardinals' 3rd. Been a sloppy game so far, I would say.
Not exactly what we saw Friday and Saturday. And both these pitchers might find themselves and pick it up the pace a little bit. Greatly appreciated.
Popped up on the right side of the infield. Murphy calls everybody off and makes the play. Jeremy Hefner, 0-4 on the season. Came over to the Mets from the Pirates. Claimed on waivers from the Pirates. Was here with the Mets a year ago out of their bullpen. Not a lot of big league experience for Hefner. He's a 27-year-old right-hander. And he finds himself in a 3-3 game facing Yadier Molina.
Did have 26 appearances last year, 13 starts, a 4-7 record for the Mets, and an ERA over 5.
Molina walked in the first. Lynn has 5 walks, and Hefner has 3. And we are only in the 3rd inning. And 3-0 on Molina. One of the problems with having control issues is you want to just throw a pitch that Hefner just threw right there, right down central. And that's usually trouble, Al. He does that again, watch out. Low strike.
Better on the corner. With all the walks in this game, rarely do you get these borderline pitches. Good pitchers pitch right on the black.
And yet another full count. Molina 4th in the National League in batting. Ground ball to the right side, and it's booted by Murphy, and he still has time to throw out Molina. And to really work to recover, he was playing very deep, and he stayed with it. They've taken that off his hand, too.
It looked like they had him played very well, a few steps to his left, but then, like you said, it looked like he got the fingers as he put the hand in the glove a little bit too soon, and that's how far he's out by.
Good stretch by Davis. 2 outs, nobody on for John Jay, and there's a bunt attempt, foul. Jay had a sacrifice fly in that Cardinal first inning, which ended with Alan Craig being tagged out between 2nd and 3rd. And in retrospect, you'd like to say what might have happened had David Freese been able to get an opportunity to hit in that first inning. Always hard to look back and expect the same results, though. 0-2 on John Jay. Nice crowd on hand here at Busch Stadium for Monday Night Baseball. Game 1 of a 4-game series with the Mets. And the homestand concludes with a series against the Milwaukee Brewers. Cardinals took 2 out of 3 from the Rockies. 2 outstanding ball games. Shelby Miller and Adam Wainwright.
De La Rosa wasn't as good, but still another no-hitter was intact until late in the ball game before Freese broke it up. In the 8th, wasn't it? Like it's a little more dramatic when it's the Cardinal pitcher.
Exactly. We remember the details better. It was 2 outs in the 7th inning when David Freese hit a ball off the first baseman's glove, and John Jay followed with a double. New batting stance of John Jay. Another full count. I'm guessing 6 of those.
Full counts?
Yes, that's my guess. And it results in a 2-out walk to John Jay, and here's a time for David Freese's first home run of 2013. Still looking for that. He has 4 RBIs. He singled and scored in that second inning. Cardinals now, by the way, have announced that they're going to have a training session for the Chelsea soccer team here at Busch Stadium. And they want folks to know that you can buy tickets for $20 for Wednesday, May 22nd at 7 p.m. to watch Chelsea practice. All kinds of good things going on, including a band, fireworks, and a unique crossbar soccer challenge that will end up with one fan in attendance having the opportunity to go to England next year to see Chelsea play at home. Those tickets go on sale tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Cardinals.com/soccer. Again, the Chelsea club will be practicing here. Base hit, maybe up the middle. Nice play by the shortstop. Going to his left, that's Tejada showing some range. Well hit by Freese, no result. Hefner and Lynn, the pitchers, each one in the low to mid 90s. Both pitchers having trouble with their control, however. 3-3 the score. Cardinals have out hit the Mets 5-3. A 3-run Mets second inning. Cardinals with 2 in the first, 1 in the second. And we have a misplaced Phillies fan here at the ballpark. Somebody help that young man out.
Ricky, how often do you see after 3 innings you have more walks than hits? 8 hits and 9 walks between the 2 pitchers.
You sure wouldn't expect that out of the Cardinals staff. That has been real plus, I would say, from top to bottom in the Cardinals rotation and in their bullpen now. A lot of strikes.
That's why they're pitching so well, is they're usually controlling the counts. Lance Lynn, it just seems like when he attacks hitters, and when we say attack the strike zone, and he's at his best.
Tries to attack that outside corner and just misses it. 2-2. Facing Hefner, then the top of the order for the Mets. Mets have lost their last 3. 6 games under 500.
Financial problems with the ownership helped Nick's ear when Jason Bay's contract's off the book, as well as Santana's.
Here's a call, third strike. Strikeout number 4 for Lance. And a good start to the 4th inning. Pitch count now at 75. We're keeping an eye on that and an eye to the Cardinals bullpen. And the quality start has been measured over the last 5 or 6 years. Al, some people talking about what a quality start is. Maybe it's longer than that. Is kind of the 6 innings, 3 runs. Lance Lynn still with an opportunity to reach that. Probably not much more than 6 innings, though.
You have to get some outs, real quick outs, to get to 6 innings.
Talked about the Mets being such a patient team. We don't expect that to happen.
We saw something last year in Kansas City that I'd never heard of. It was where a pitcher had gone 6 innings and had given up more than 3 runs, but they called it a quality start because they only had 3 unearned runs. Now that's even carrying it more ridiculous.
I'm with you on that.
The quality start came about as an arbitration number. Some agent had a pitcher that didn't win many games, but he pitched a lot of innings, kept his team in the game, so they came up with that to try and show the value of a pitcher, even though you can't do it always with wins. A gimmick.
Speaking of the value of the pitcher, we'll remind everybody that Chris Carpenter threw a bullpen today, and the value there is much more than the numbers.
How about the audience he had?
Oh, that was so cool to watch. There was at least 10 players and coaches who I'm sure had other things to do. It was really early in the afternoon, and they were out there right behind him watching him throw a bullpen. Full count. Fly ball to left. In comes Holiday, and he's got it. Another full count. But it's 2 up, 2 down for New York here in the 4th inning, and Lance Lynn has now retired 6 of his last 7. Daniel Murphy 2 for 2. And he lines this one down the right field line into the seats, so he's seeing the ball very well against Lance Lynn. Mentioned Murphy hit 320 2 years ago and almost 300 last year. This is a Mets club that is in dire need of some offense.
Nothing that a little win streak wouldn't cure, right?
We know how that goes. Check swing. I don't think he held up. Neither does Laz Diaz. That's a strikeout, 2nd in the inning for Lance Lynn, and perhaps he's righted the ship. Cardinals win against the Mets and the weekend series against the Brewers, fans are going to get $3 off pavilion level tickets for the D-back series on June 3rd through the 6th. And this could lead to a discount as high as $21 if the Cards win all 7 of these games, meaning free tickets. So stay tuned and save. For more details, visit cardinals.com/win. And I've been told, Al, that the Cardinals in this particular promo, the Cards win, you save promo, the Cardinals have gone 16-5 when we do this promo, which means a lot of cheap tickets available for that Diamondback series, again June 3rd through the 6th. So root on the Cardinals over the next 7. We'll do the math for you. There's a ground ball, tough play for the second baseman. Who's going to cover? Davis gets back just in time to retire Descalzo.
Not an easy play for Murphy because he goes far to his left, and then he has to wait for the first baseman to get back to the bag. And he's still kind of backpedaling. As you see defensively, Murphy catches the ball. Now he has to wait for his first baseman to get back to the bag, and you also have a runner coming down. Interesting that he kept on backpedaling and never really got set. Seemed like it would have made it a lot easier throw.
Murphy gets the job done. 1 out for the Cardinals here in the 4th inning. Lance Lynn had a sacrifice bunt in the 2nd, his 5th of the season. And the Cardinal pitching staff's done a nice job of getting their bunts down. That was a conversation that we had quite a bit a year ago, Al. The Cardinal pitchers, really the entire team, struggling.
Well, remember they had competition in spring training. Made a little game out of it. See who was the best bunter amongst the pitchers. And then did it with the position players.
Watch out. Line drive over the Cardinals dugout, and just hope everybody's okay. Very late swing by Lance Lynn, and boy, you just don't like to see that. Three is our score, bottom of the 4th inning. Cardinals can turn this into a pretty nice homestand. Another foul ball. The Brewers not playing well now. The Mets not playing well. You've taken 2 out of 3 against the Rockies. You just have to keep that gas pedal down, don't you?
You sure do. And right now Milwaukee does have a 3-0 lead over the Pirates. Go Brewers.
And we mentioned in our open that the Cardinals will not see Matt Harvey in this series. He pitched yesterday against Pittsburgh, and Harvey is turning into one of the best pitchers in the National League numbers wise.
Sure is. And Harvey has 4 wins, and the rest of the starters for the Mets have 4.
Curveball, strike 1 to Carpenter. Walked and singled. Driven in a run and scored a run.
When your closer has as many wins as 4/5 of your starting rotation, doesn't speak well for you, does it?
He has wins, but not many saves.
Not many opportunities.
Mets as a bullpen, and that's been a problem for Terry Collins in his 3rd year as the manager for the Mets. The bullpen only with 4 total saves. On May 13th. Collins managed with the Astros, the Angels, and now the Mets. And a lot of work for him and the general manager, Sandy Alderson, to do.
Yeah, I was going to say that Terry Collins bad tell a story with 2 outs, but I noticed one time that after he was fired from Houston and went to the Angels, they said he interviews really well. And we'll talk about that. Oh.
It is a strike 3 call on Matt Carpenter. We'll tell you more about Terry Collins when we come back. Jim Hayes, who's with us. And Jim, you have some more information about our starting pitcher tomorrow in Game 2 of this series, John Gast.
Yeah, John said he was more nervous about speaking in front of all the cameras and microphones when he met the media earlier today than about his start tomorrow. He says he expects the nerves will kick back in tomorrow, especially as he heads out to the mound. He says having been around the big club at spring training makes him a lot more comfortable. Mike Matheny says his advice for any young pitcher thrown into the fire like Gas, keep it simple and listen to Yachty, guys.
That's pretty good advice, Jim, and I suspect that you will be in charge of making him comfortable in front of the camera, as you've done with so many players before him.
Well, it's my interview technique, as you know, Ricky. It makes everybody comfortable except the audience at home.
Well, you make Al and I comfortable. That's all that really matters.
Is Al comfortable right now?
He looks very comfortable.
All right.
Not behind me, is he?
No, he's not. You like the advice about trusting Yachty, I would assume.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Makes things as simple as possible.
Middle of the order for the Mets. David Wright is such a good player. You mentioned he's a 6-time All-Star. He has also won a couple of Gold Gloves at third base. And is very consistent with his power numbers, RBIs. They love him in New York.
He represents himself and the Mets very well,
Sure
both on and off the field.
Sure does. Seems to me that's become more and more important, Al, as the game has become more TV centric, and all of what we can read on the internet and Twitter, how you represent your club. That ball hit well to right, but Beltran makes the play. Wright represents the Mets well. The Cardinals catcher Yadier Molina certainly does that for the Cardinals. Both these guys came up just about the same time, 2004, and they've been very, very durable. They're our BJC difference makers.
You see the 6-time All-Star, 4-time. They both rank the most games at their exclusive position, and just both of them in the summer of 2004. I was telling you about Terry Collins, and I read where he interviewed very well. And I posed this question to one of your good friends, one of your former managers from the minor leagues and the big leagues. I forgot Jim Fregosi.
Jim Fregosi.
I said, Jim, what is interview well?
Watch out, that bat went right past Lance Lynn. It's a foul ball, but Lynn had to avoid getting hit by part of that bat.
And of course, Fregosi said, I'll tell you about interviewing well. I interviewed for the job in Toronto. And I went up there and they set me down, and this guy says, I want to ask you a few questions. Said he was a psychologist. He said, I want to ask you a few questions. Jim goes, how long have you been in the game? Oh, I've been in 3 years. He goes, well, I've been in 45 years. Don't you think I should be asking you questions? Or,
so that would categorize
that
as the
interview.
That's the bad interview.
That's a bad one. But it's our buddy Fregosi.
Oh, boy. He's the best. Jay has that one. Show off your Cardinals spirit and style with a cap with the new Cardinals alternate logo, courtesy of U.S. Cellular, the official wireless provider of the St. Louis Cardinals. 25,000 fans ages 16 and older will receive the adult cap on Friday, May 17th. The Cardinals and the Brewers will play that night. Visit cardinals.com/promotions. So Lance Lynn on a roll.
Tied 7 in a row.
And 9 of 10. Pitch count at 94. Maybe he'll get through those 6 innings after all. Facing Lucas Duda, we've talked about his raw power. Hitting just 133 in the month of May. Again, he's had a lot of company on this Mets team. Really struggled offensively. Hard hit, but Look where Carpenter is. He throws out Duda. Can't believe he was standing there. 1-2-3 inning. Beltran. When we come back. The score. What's on tap brought to you by Budweiser. These two clubs will go at it again tomorrow at 6:30 on Fox Sports Midwest. And you will see John Gast in his major league debut. Dylan G will pitch for the Mets. He's a guy that has a big upside, but he's off to a bad start at 2-4 and an ERA in the mid-5s.
I was going to say, we've seen him pitch very well, and one of these days those Mets starters are going to turn the trick, start reeling off some victories. So try and have a good 4-game homestand, right, or 4 games against them right here, and we'll have Milwaukee come in town, right?
You got it. Shallow center. In comes Ankiel. Out goes the shortstop Tejada, who makes the play. And he introduces himself to Rick Ankiel. And when you think about this Met club, we've talked a lot about the starters out with the bullpen. It's anchored by Bobby Parnell, the veteran, who has the wins that you mentioned out of the closer spot and just 3 saves. But not a lot of success in their bullpen in the early going either.
Well, they lost their closer, or he has not recovered from his surgery over the winter, Francisco. Paying a lot of money to Francisco, and then Santana's the big one. Got like $32.5 million on the disabled list for those 2 guys.
Terry Collins with his work cut out for him. But you say he interviews well.
Interviews well.
As opposed to Jim Fregosi. I would love to have been a fly on that wall for that Jim Fregosi interview. You know, Terry Collins is known to be a little
fiery.
Let's just say fiery as well. Which, you know, you almost have to be that to be a big league manager these days. In my mind, how can you not be emotional and competitive when you have so much riding on every single game at this level, and it's got a lot of pressure to it. 3-3 our score. Time for our carsoup.com Email the booth question from Kent, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Is there a Mets player that got under your skin more than any other? Oh my. Let me get my list out. How about you?
Not really.
Oh, really?
No, I didn't mind anybody. And
you want to borrow one of mine?
Depends on who it is.
Well, they kind of go together.
Dykstra and Beckman?
Exactly. It's hard to pick one without the other. They're like the same guy to me.
Two little gnats.
Yep.
You know, the funniest thing was Lou Brock and Jerry Grody. Lou would get in the batter's box and tell Jerry Grody, the catcher, and he was from Texas, and he would just tell him, I'm going to steal off of you. I'm going to steal off you. You can't throw me out. And it used to drive Grody crazy.
How can you not like Lou Brock, though? We love him in St. Louis. 3-3 through 5. Victory of the season, 3-3 in the 6th. Time for our head and shoulders whiff package.
Lance Lynn has done the trick. He's got 5 strikeouts. The only problem is he's got 5 walks to go with it, but he has settled down in this ball game. He's put up 3 scoreless frames, and here he is. Even though his pitch count is at 96, he's back out there for the 6th. I don't know about you, Rick, but if I was Lance Lynn, I'd be very thankful my manager keeping me in the ball game.
No question. And he has responded to that opportunity very well that Mike Matheny's given him. He has righted the ship, starting to throw more strikes. Mike Matheny's the kind of guy, and we've been around him, Al, for a long time. He's the kind of guy that very, very loyal to his players. And he will back his players, and there are times where folks may say, oh, he's just making an excuse for the players, but he sees the best in his players. He understands it's a game of failure, and he's not about to give up on a guy easily.
Mitchell Boggs is a prime example, and I'm
Exactly.
sure every day when Mike goes to the office, he asks about Mitchell Boggs and how he's doing.
Boggs, by the way, 4 scoreless innings in AAA over his appearances, and he seems to really be throwing well along with Zepchinski. They're using them in the 7th and the 8th innings down in Memphis, and I'm sure Mike is all over those numbers and those details. Another strikeout for Lance Lynn. He gets John Buck for the 2nd time. Ice Mountain Autograph Nights are back for the 2013 season. First of 5 autograph nights, Wednesday, May 15th. The Cardinals will take on the Mets. Fans 20 and under can get an autograph from former and current players. For more details, visit cardinals.com/promotions. Lance Lynn facing Rick Ankiel. Ankiel walked and scored in the 2nd inning and struck out in the 3rd. Rick Ankiel, along with Brett Wallace, 2 former Cardinals, were striking out at an alarming rate at the beginning of this season for the Astros.
Is Wallace still there? I know he'd been
Wallace
sent
got
down.
sent down.
Yeah, I knew that. I didn't know if he'd come back.
But about 80% of the time they were striking out. 2 guys in the middle of your lineup that you expect production from. And a ground ball to the right side. Carpenter has it. He's been steady all season with the glove. Lance Lynn has certainly found his groove.
Well, you know, it's also when Lance Lynn losing all the weight that he did, he's in so much better shape. So you shouldn't feel that you can't extend him a little bit. Hopefully he can get out of this inning with around 110 pitches. In the old days, you wouldn't even think about taking him out after that either if he was doing the job.
Now we talked about the dreaded Mets of the 85, 86, 87 years. Such a heated rivalry with the Cardinals. A couple of those players here at the ballpark. There may be more, but I've seen a couple of them. One, Keith Hernandez, who's doing TV work for the Mets, former Cardinal and one of the best raw hitters I think I've ever seen. He's just such a good player. And third base coach, there's Keith. And the third base coach for the Mets, very good baseball mind, is Tim Tuffle. Fly ball to right, and another easy inning for Lance Lynn. On the pitching staff, would it be Maness, Martinez, and Gast? And I'm a bit surprised by this. I saw Seth Maness out in the bullpen voting on his phone for something, and I guess maybe that's what he was doing. Seth Maness, more than
I think in the short run, I agree with that.
Steven Jackson at the ballpark. Al, he's got a body just like yours. One pitch, one out. Nice play by Baxter. Al, wouldn't you say your biceps and his are very similar?
My right one, because I got a torn bicep.
Yeah, those aren't torn. Those are just ripped is what they are. Now an Atlanta Falcon, I'm still going to be rooting for Steven Jackson. Just loved the way he'd hit the hole and his effort. I know Rams fans appreciated all that he laid out on the field for the Rams over the years.
You think they really realized how good he was? Not all the years. Or still
Probably
is.
not.
Yeah. And he brought a little of the controversy onto himself.
Backing up is the shortstop Tejada, but he's got a cannon. Throws out John Jay. So the Cardinals, like the Mets, having a hard time finding some offense here in the middle innings. You talked about Hefner's ability, Al, to settle down in a game and get right, and that's what we're seeing here tonight.
I was going to say Lance Lynn has done the same thing, but when his counterpart has done it, there you see the Cardinal vulture. Is that Manus?
Yep.
Picks up 2 wins in his first 3 major league outings, but he deserved them.
You think the Cardinals aren't following the Fox Sports Midwest Twitter poll? Fans, you vote. He's up.
I think that Carlos Martinez has such an exciting time, but you know, when you bring young players up like this, you put them in the bullpen, you retard their growth. And had a rough day yesterday, and you know, I think one thing you think about is just the layoff, not pitching down there. He probably would have 2 starts under his belt if he would have been back in the minor leagues. He'll like his paycheck on the 15th.
Tejada showing that range and the arm again. Throws out David Freese. 1-2-3 inning for the Cardinals. On to the 7th. A mile. Lance Lynn, in the last 2 seasons, only 1 pitcher in the National League with more victories than him. Al said it earlier. Gio Gonzalez, 24 wins, but Lynn with 23 more wins in the last 2 seasons than Dickey and Yu Darvish. How about that?
18-game winner last season. It's 5-1 this year.
And he faces Justin Turner, who pinch hits for Hefner. And Lance Lynn back to work in the top of the 7th inning. You surprised at all that Lynn's back out for the 7th?
A little, just because we just haven't seen this take place before. But you know, right now he's on a little bit of a roll. He feels good. He's strong and healthy. Go ahead, let him go. The only problem is, and I think you and I can attest to this, that you see pitches by inning, you see how efficient he's been the last couple. But you and I know that all these innings being loaded up by the starters is going to take a toll on the bullpen. They're going to be ineffective.
Good pitch on the outside corner, and that freezes Turner. Want a great deal on Cardinals tickets? Who doesn't? Fill up at Phillips 66 with 8 gallons or more now until June 30th and receive up to 50% off on a pair of tickets to a Cardinals home game. For more information, visit cardinals.com/Phillips66. Outstanding partner of the St. Louis Cardinals. So many wonderful corporate relationships here in St. Louis, Al, and we get to meet some of the folks that come down to spring training and are here at the ballpark, and really appreciate the way this whole community gets behind Cardinals baseball. But we also know that the fan that comes in from outstate and from other states fill up this ballpark, and it's just really a great franchise and things going very well here in St. Louis.
Well, Ricky, you know, the Cardinals have the phenomenal attendance every year, the 3 million, and but the Cardinals organization realized if it wasn't for the out-of-town guests that come in, and there are people around that have you know, season tickets that may live 2-3 hours away, drive into town, watch the ball game, go back, go to work, and turn around and make that same trip. But they're dependent on all the attendance from the out-of-state area.
Hard hit by Baxter, but right at Alan Craig. 2 outs. And you know, one of the things I like about the new fields and Bill Finley, the grounds crew, the head grounds crew person here at Busch Stadium, the way the fields are constructed now, those folks that come in from out of town don't have to sit through as many rain delays and worry about rainouts. Most of the time these fields drain well enough that you can get games in, and what a shame it is to have to drive 4 or 5 hours to get rained out. It just doesn't happen much anymore.
No, it doesn't happen. And as you said, they used to have the AstroTurf, the artificial turf that was down that had such great drainage. And the Cardinals didn't take that up and put in an all grass field until they came up with the technology. There's a, you know, almost like a 12-inch root system that this field would drain very, very well, and that's why, you know, the fans can get, you know, it's not a gamble anymore to make that trip and know that, or wonder about whether we're going to play.
Well, we weren't sure whether Lance Lynn would go back out for the 7th inning. He did, but he is due to bat second for the Cardinals in the bottom of the 7th, so likely his last out here, and he hopes it's Daniel Murphy and he doesn't have to face David Wright again.
And they have 2 guys up, Schultz up along with Manus. So if he gets 1 guy on, he's probably out of this ball game.
Very awkward, off-balance 3-1 swing for Daniel Murphy. We've seen some odd cuts here.
And Murphy got base hits in his first 2 times at the plate. Then he struck out his 3rd time. And that's what Lance is looking for right now to finish off his evening, a strikeout.
3-2, and he's going to have to face David Wright. Base hit to left with 2 outs, his 3rd hit of the night, and the 4th for the Mets. And now you mentioned the streak that Lynn was on. That's the first hit he's given up since that 2nd inning.
He's only allowed 1 base runner prior to that base hit, and that was in the 3rd, just a walk.
So 120 plus pitches for Lance Lynn here tonight. plus whatever he does here. Derek Lilliquist wanting to make sure somebody's ready. You would think that would be Choate to face Davis. And there's a strike at the knees, and Lynn doesn't really look tired to me.
No, he doesn't. He looks, you know, really is kind of a nice, cool evening. Beautiful day today. It's going to get a little warmer tomorrow, but in the 70s today, but it's cooled off nicely to keep you really fresh and strong. Almost like a California night air.
Does feel like that. Dodger Stadium.
Well, you feel like it when you're out on the West Coast. You feel like you can pitch forever. Nice, cool evenings. How deep they are. No doubles defense. Nothing over your head. Give up a base hit in front of you, but nothing over your head that will score that runner from first.
Good pitch by Lynn. Fouled off by Wright.
No. David has a base hit tonight. He's gone right after him. Career high in pitches, and I like the fact that I think Derek Lilliquist a little like the cutter.
Broken bat, ground ball to short. Descalzo has it. He throws out right. Good reaction from Lance Lynn. He's excited. Time to stretch here in St. Louis. Daniel Descalzo leads it off for the Cardinals when we come back. Right to end the top of the 7th inning, and Al, he pitched him a lot of different ways tonight. One hit for David Wright, but not a lot of damage, and he did it again by using both sides of the strike zone.
Well, if you're a starter, you're going to have to face guys multiple times. There he gets a slider or the fastball, but he just throws it down and away. Second time up, he tries to come inside, not hit particularly well, but it was an RBI base hit. There in the 5th inning, it's just down, but it's in the middle and just gets a little fly ball loft on another fastball. The 7th inning, shatters the bat, and that was the one we just saw that probably Lance Lynn's final inning of work. A new career high in innings pitched. Hopefully he'll get rewarded as he battled, struggled the first couple innings, but then was very good.
Scott Rice is our Chevy call to the bullpen, and he has been very, very busy this season. This is his 22nd game. Al, it took him 14 years in the minor leagues.
Yeah, he's At age 31, 192 days, Rice became the second oldest U.S.-born player and the 8th oldest player to make his major league debut with the Mets. Only Sean Gilbert was 32 plus 82 days back in 1997. So once again, Ricky, if you're left-handed and got a heartbeat and a breaking ball, you could pitch.
You think there were times where he packed his bag and said, okay, I'm done?
I bet they probably wouldn't. I bet there's a few times maybe an organization or a manager said you're done, but he kind of fought his way through, and here he is being rewarded.
Signed out of high school, took him a long time to develop. Had a good year in AAA a year ago for Albuquerque, and the Mets giving him a chance this year. And ball is fair, and Descalzo is tagged as he goes by the first baseman Davis. 1 out in the 7th. Say good morning to the new Egg White Delight McMuffin. 8 grams of whole grain and just 250 calories at McDonald's. That sounds good right about now.
Wigington will pinch hit.
Lance Lynn showed some emotion when he retired David Wright in the 7th inning, and you could just get that sense of, you know what, I did it. I came back. I didn't give up.
Oh, I think it's great. I think it's one of the best lessons you can learn as a young pitcher is, okay, you start out bad, but you can turn it around and then not only turn it around but pitch 7 innings and keeping your team in a tie ball game. That's truly the definition of keeping your team or allowing your team to win a game, and here we are 3-3.
Cardinals need to score here in the 7th to make a winner out of Lance Lynn. 5-1 on the season. Hefner went 6 solid innings for the Mets. Really a quality start for him too, Al. Just 3 runs. He walked 4 as well, but he gave his team a chance to win this game.
Well, that's what he does every time out. He'll give up runs in the first 3 innings, and then he kind of finds his groove and keeps his team in it. Usually 6 innings, 3 runs.
Off the end of the bat into center field, and a late break by Ankiel, and he drops it. Wigington slides into second, and the Cardinals have a runner in scoring position here in the 7th. You could just tell that Ankiel did not read that off the bat as hit the way we could see it here, right off the end of the bat by Wigington, and it wasn't going to carry, and he tried to make up for it, tried to dive and couldn't come up with it.
Yeah, the sound did sound good coming off the bat. He comes in here, probably should have made that play, and I think he'd be the one to tell you.
He was using the pitcher's second glove. Jim Hayes reported that he's using Scott Rice's glove, our current pitcher.
Scored as a double. And Wigington starting to come alive a little bit in that department. Back-to-back pinch hit appearances successfully.
Make it hurt. Matt Carpenter. Up the middle, off the pitcher, hits his foot. Carpenter headed to first base. He's going to be safe. Wigington's headed home, and he is safe at the plate. How about that? Heads up base running by Ty Wigington, and the Cardinals take the lead. Wow, nobody at home.
Boy, you would think David Wright or somebody would see that and at least race home, and David's still at the bag with Oquendo at third. Could be a winning game for Lance Lynn. Let's watch this one again. Hard smash right off his foot. Kicks it over towards the first base foul line. He's going to be safe at first, but both the pitcher and catcher are there. Nobody reacted to cover home plate. Ty Wigington, let's watch his reactions here. He sees it, and boy, no hesitation. You saw Oquendo pointing towards home plate, and it's a race there. It looks great because he's safe, but what if he would have been out with runners at first and third and nobody out?
I love that play. That was exciting baseball. Ty Wigington taking the extra base.
Mike Matheny's been preaching.
You bet it is.
And if you get thrown out there, he's okay with it. He wants to see this type and race back to home plate And remember, Scott Rice is trying to catch that ball. He's got the runner coming home behind him, and look at Lance Lynn.
I don't believe I've ever seen that. So that's got to be an RBI.
Yeah.
For Matt Carpenter. Didn't get out of the infield.
It's his second RBI of the day. Look at that slide. And truly safe ahead of the tag.
Wow, that was fun. Beltran hitting from the right side against the left-hander Scott Rice.
How about Scott Rice? He was a first-round draft pick, a supplemental first-round with Baltimore Orioles. Signed by the Rangers as a minor league free agent. Dodgers minor league free agent. Long Island Ducks. Might have played for Dave LaPointe.
I bet he did.
San Diego Padres, Colorado Rockies, Chicago Cubs, the Dodgers again, and then the Mets, all as minor league free agents. Started in 1999, and here in 2013, he's finally gotten to the big leagues.
Choten Rosenthal getting loose for St. Louis. Move to first, not a good one. Always wonder about those tricky lefties. He may have a better one in store for you.
Might go ahead and want to bring in Choate to face Davis and Duda, and then Rosenthal.
Beltran waves at an off-speed pitch. He's the second out of the inning. Cardinals have struck here in the seventh. A flare double to center by the pinch hitter Ty Wigington. Then Matt Carpenter, an RBI base hit. The Cardinals are leading 4-3, and we're going to have another trip to the bullpen. The slide of Ty Wigington. This gives the Cardinals the lead. Matt Carpenter, a couple of singles, 2 RBIs, a run scored. Holiday at the plate has singled and scored a run himself. And he will face the second reliever, Scott Atchison. Big moment, really his first big, exciting moment as a Cardinal for Ty Wigington.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. It's been kind of a tough spring, slow start to the season, and boy, he can make himself a new little hero right with that one at bat and trip around the bases. Scott Atchison, we've seen him with San Francisco. He's been in the American League most of the time. Seattle, then San Francisco, Boston the last 3 years. He's been in quite a few games too. He's unscored upon 11 of his 18 outings, but of late he's allowed at least 1 run in 4 of his last 6 appearances. Right-handers are batting .214 against him.
This is inside to Holiday. Matt Singleton scored in that first inning, and he bounced into a double play with the bases loaded. A big opportunity missed for the Cardinals in the second inning. Also bounced out in the 5th. Batting with 2 outs and Carpenter aboard. And a long one to left. This one is gone. Matt Holliday, home run number 6 to extend the Cardinals lead 6-3.
RBIs 22 and 23 for Matt. Took a while for the Cardinals to knock out the starter, but here having fun with the bullpen. The left-hander Rice, who started this inning, is the pitcher of record, and you really think about it, they did get that first hit, but probably should have been a line drive out, caught by Ankiel if he had his own glove, and then the quirky play that allowed him to score. But right now against the reliever, the 2-run bomb is the equalizer.
That was a blast by Matt Holliday, very typical of his home runs. They are just smoked. He's hit the ball hard twice today. I mean, real hard. 6-3 St. Louis. Our Nissan drive of the game. I think we'll take this one.
The ball moved just ever so slightly until contact was made, and then it just exploded off the bat of Holiday. That follow through.
Would you say 115 miles an hour?
Yep, there was 100 plus there.
Alan Craig with his second hit of the night.
And Ricky, the thing to remember is that the average speed coming off the bat, they told me, was 86. Now that's for all balls put in play, unless you hit a little dribbler or bunt play or something like that. But when it's a line drive base hit, it gets up there a little bit.
Cardinals now with 9 hits on the night, and they've scored 6 runs. Talked about the run support that Lance Lynn typically gets.
I mean, this is 2 years in a row for Lance, but I'm telling you, he really showed his teammates something today. Gave up 3 runs in the second inning and then battled through 7 innings total. Career high of pitches, and he is most deserving of this win if the Cardinals can pull it out.
Struggled in the first inning, got out of it. A strikeout of John Buck with the bases loaded in the first. And then the second inning struggles even more so. A walk in the third inning, and then he was nearly perfect after that. $38,412 here at the ballpark tonight. Crowd still buzzing over that Matt Holliday home run, and maybe even the play by Ty Wigginton. Play Yachty to hit the ball the other way. The center fielder Ankiel shades him that way. Yachty backed off the plate, 2-2. Alan Craig back up over 300 with that base hit. There's a long one to left. This one's deep in the gap, and it's a ground rule double as it bounces into the stands. Craig will not be able to score, and the Cardinals have brought the lumber here in the 7th.
Only missing the triple for hitting for the cycle. Mike's going to go out there, but that doesn't even need a replay. That bounced into the stands. See, this ball got down very easily, and Mike, I'm sure, will turn around after an explanation. Everybody saw that.
Mike heads back to the dugout. Terry Collins leaves the dugout. Have another pitching change here in the Cardinals' 7th. All smiles. Cardinals scored 6 runs, which means any size coffee, fountain, and frozen drink is only 50 cents all day tomorrow and on the run. 6 is a serious number. Another Chevy call to the bullpen, this time the right-hander, Greg Burke, third pitcher we've seen, Al, in this inning.
He was just recalled yesterday from Las Vegas in the Pacific Coast League. He's a submariner. Has pitched in the big leagues with San Diego back in 09. Last year he split time between AA and AAA in the Baltimore organization. And usually you don't want to have a submariner throw to a left-handed batter.
But that's what he's doing, facing John Jay. Typically the guys that throw from down under much more effective against right-handers.
Right. Left-handed batter, there's nothing to interfere with watching the release point.
Not really fooled by all the arms and legs. You're just still seeing the ball right in front of you.
Yeah, because the way he drops down, there's no body part that can get in front of it, or no deception. So here, trying to work the outside part of the plate to John Jay. Take it to left.
Jay's looking for his first hit, but he has produced here tonight. Sacrifice flying an RBI in the first, and he walked in the third.
And a 9-game hitting streak on the line. Got his average up to 264 and very quickly. He was under 200 when we left to go on that last road trip.
The 1-2 to John Jay is a swing and a miss. He is retired. But the Cardinals make it exciting in the 7th, and they do it a couple of ways. On the base pass, and with power. Studio, Pat Paris. He's got a Bommarito sports update. Pat? Very talented shortstop for the Brewers. We'll keep an eye on that game. Our Chevy call to the bullpen in this game is the left-hander Randy Choate.
See, Randy's last appearance was in Chicago on the 8th. 2/3 of an inning, 1 hit, all zeros. He may only have the first 2 hitters here.
1 pitch, 1 out. And Holiday runs it down.
Only the 12th appearance for Randy Choate. Last year he had 80, but just really hadn't been that many times to really utilize a specialist.
Mike Matheny has talked quite a bit about how he's had a hard time figuring out the right time to use him.
Yeah.
And if you're the specialist, Al, you kind of know how that job works. Do you use him in the 7th or the 9th? And the way the Cardinals starting pitching has been, that's kind of confused the bullpen even a little more. But when do you use the bullet is the question.
And like you said, in the 9th inning, it's almost, there's no time there because Mojica's been perfect. So it's just one of those situations. This is perfect. They had 2 left-handers, the first 2 batters here. And he just needs some work. He's going to be a little rusty. He's the kind of guy that used to, pitching every day, if not every other day. But the way he throws, they use him 4 or 5 days in a row. So we'll have Rosenthal warming up. So it could be a situation that he gets this batter, and then Rosenthal will come in for the final out of the inning.
Slider misses low to Duda.
Pretty good pitch, though. 37 years of age, signed a 3-year contract with the Cardinals.
And wants to pitch longer than that.
Yeah, he told me he'd like to, that he said, look, I only throw 40 innings a year. He's got a point.
As long as they continue to be good 40 innings, then maybe he keeps having that job.
Absolutely.
Jamie Moyer comes to mind. Julio Franco playing as long as he did.
And he wasn't a pitcher, but
I was kind of sad, and he played for the Mets some. Franco did. I was kind of sorry when he retired because he was the last guy that I actually kind of came up with, and he was still
playing. I know what
playing.
you're talking about. I always look forward to the guys that I faced, and then when they started, now he's gone.
Now they're all coaching, and their kids are playing.
I remember Franco when he first broke in. He had most of his career was with Cleveland. And he might have been with Philly a little bit before he was in the Von Hayes team.
He was. Matheny has already made a call to the bullpen. The right-hander Rosenthal will be next. Cardinals working in the 8th. Trevor Rosenthal. 98, 99 miles an hour often from him, Al, and he is a very talented young pitcher.
He hasn't pitched since last Wednesday. Also, he's tied for third with 25 strikeouts among National League relievers. Also, 31.4 swing and miss percentage is tops in the National League. Team leader with his 19th appearance tonight. Leads with his 19 and a third relief innings, and he's tied for third in the National League with 9 holds. Now you know everything about him. Except he adds to the swing and miss total.
That one at 98. This is really the year of the swing and miss in baseball, Al. A lot of strikeouts this season, and he really epitomizes that with what he does out of the Cardinals bullpen. He's, as you say, the best at that particular stat, and with all the strikeouts we see in baseball, he's a guy that really does have big time swing and miss stuff. And there's another one. Strikes out John Buck. Made that look easy. Time for our AT&T U-verse rewind. Game 1 of the series with the Mets. Cardinals lead it 6-3. Top of the 8th inning. Hefner and Lynn, the starters, both struggled early. Settled down some. Matt Holliday, a big 2-run shot in the Cardinals' 7th inning to extend their lead to 6-3. Rick Horton with Al Raboski, Jim Hayes along with us. And we invite you to stay on for the postgame as well. But more baseball to be played. And the first pitch is high, ball 1 to Rick Ankiel. Got a nice note on Twitter, Al, from Heather, who is watching us in Perth, Australia, enjoying the game and loving baseball. Swing and a miss. Ankiel is 0 for 2. And in case you've just joined us, he has just joined the Mets. After being released by the Astros, the Mets called him, giving him another opportunity in the Big Apple. Swing and a miss. Good cut. That pitch at 97. One and two the count. Swing and not held onto by Yachty. Tough chance for him there as it just ticked off the bat of Ankiel. So we'll do the 1-2 count again. Rosenthal has a good curveball and a good changeup, but you don't often see it coming out of that bullpen.
Well, that's what you say. You know, it's like it's hard to throw much more than 2 pitches coming out of the bullpen.
There's a changeup, I believe, to Ankiel. That changeup at 91 miles an hour. That's not right. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. David Freese bats first for St. Louis. In the bottom of the 8th inning, the Cardinals a very successful 7th. 3 runs in that inning on 5 hits, 3 of them for extra bases. This ball hit hard to center. Ankiel on the move and makes the play. Nice play by Ankiel.
He's still a very gifted athlete, and he can track down those balls. Ball might have been knuckling on him a little bit, but gets over there and look at the left hand. His bare hand comes in there to make sure, secure the catch, close that glove.
Always had really good outfield speed, and you didn't necessarily think of Ankiel as a burner on the base pass, but you can tell certain outfielders, Al, just play with that extra gear defensively. Part of it, I guess, getting good jumps, but you know, you could be really fast, but not a fast outfield.
And you could
base hit to left for Descalzo.
And you could be one of those guys that has a quick first step,
right? And
maybe for 20, 30 yards, he can, you know, run, pick him up and lay him down and get to one spot A to spot B. But it's all about that jumps and being athletic enough to where you can do something with the good jump. Matt Adams pinch hitting here for Rosenthal. He did his job.
Cardinal fans love to watch Matt Adams hit.
Hika warming up, looking for his save number 10. It's a funny thing, it just seems like it's a bigger lead than just 3 runs.
It sure does.
And it might be after this at bat.
Big shift on Adams. And as we play teams that haven't seen Adams very much, Al, they all know about his swing.
Well, they saw him an awful lot in spring training. You know, Mets and Cardinals, Marlins play an awful lot of games together.
Keith Hernandez saying that guy's going to play a lot, isn't he? He needs to play a lot. And that's basically been the problem, the spray chart for Adams. Why they're playing him to pull.
See, in the outfield, they got to have that left fielder, you know, stay true.
That's the dilemma facing Mike Matheny, is how to get him enough at bats to keep him sharp.
The thing was too that I think going into spring training, I wouldn't say he would be one of their top bench players that they were thinking about, but dropped some weight, had a real good spring, obviously recovered from the elbow surgery.
There goes the runner. Pitch away, throw to second base, good jump, and a stolen base for Daniel Descalzo.
That's another aspect. When you have a submariner, they're very slow to the plate. You get a good jump, it's almost impossible for the catcher to make it up.
There's the slide into second base, and a hard late slide.
That ankle
makes me think of Oscar Taveras. We've not mentioned that yet.
Yeah.
He slid into second base in a AAA game, Al, and we understand he's okay, but pretty severely sprained his ankle on his hard slide into second.
Sometimes sprains are worse than breaks.
That is true. Fly ball to left. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light. It's the sure sign of a good time. Here we go. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Back to the top of the order, and Matt Carpenter. Another good night for Matt. Seems to get on base 2 or 3 times every night.
Got 2 base hits, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored, 3 for 4, 2 for 3 with a walk.
On Wednesday in Chicago, Carpenter was on base 4 times. On Friday, just once, then 3 times Saturday, 3 times Sunday, and already 3 times today on base. Grounds this one to short. Tejada throws out Carpenter. Mujica will look for save number 10. We have the 9th coming up for you.
we head to the 9th in St. Louis. Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, Pat Paris will be with Al Raboski. Lance Lynn finds a way to settle in. They'll break down his night. Rick Ankiel returns to St. Louis. We'll hear from him. Plus, we'll have Mike Matheny's post-game comments as well. Edward Mojica on to finish it off as we head back to the booth. And Rick and Al, guys.
Thanks, Jim. Our Chevy call to the bullpen is Edward Mojica. 14 appearances on the season, 1.93 ERA, and he has really developed into a very good closer for the Cardinals. Kind of came out of nowhere, Al. Really a 7th inning guy a year ago, and now he's much more than that.
Well, he was really solidified things for the bullpen a year ago, when the problem was bridging the gap from starter to 8th inning Boggs and then Mott in the 9th. He's had a save or hold in 32 of his 43 games with St. Louis. He's 9 for 9 in save opportunities, and you can just see he has blossomed in this role. Tejada 0 for 2.
Defensive changes for the Cardinals. Pete Kozma takes over at shortstop. Here's a look at Kozma. Had the night off tonight, one of those rare nights off for him. Descalzo moves to second base, and Carpenter from second to third. Oh, 2. The delivery. This is high. 1 and 2. Very shallow in the outfield for Tejada, and he lofts this one into right. And we have one out here in the 9th inning. Time for our player of the game, and we're going to give it to Ty Wigington. And Al, tell us why.
Well, I think he just inspired everybody with his race around the bases. He got a double, and then he was out at second base. You saw that ball deflect off the shoe of the pitcher, goes into foul territory, and he races from second all the way home ahead of the throw. There was nobody guarding home plate, and John Buck threw it to the pitcher trying to cover it, and it was a little late. That inspired the rest of the offense to get a couple more runs, and here we are, 6-3.
Pinch hitter is Jordani Valdespin against Mojica in the 9th. Mojica has that outstanding changeup, and there it is. Valdespin, a lot of playing time a year ago for the Mets. High chopper to second base. Descalzo gets his man. Good start to the 9th for Mojica. Cardinals hoping to take game 1 of this series. Gast and Dylan G will pitch game 2.
And hopefully Mojica will dispense of the 27th out with less than 10 pitches for this inning.
Cardinal fans on their feet. They were patient with this game. Started out sloppy and slow. Cardinals with a chance to go to plus 11 with a victory here tonight.
Pittsburgh lost to Milwaukee 5-1.
1-2 to Mike Baxter. Mojica ready. Swing and a miss, and he got him. Mojica, save number 10. Lance Lynn, victory number 6. And the Cardinals win this one 6-3. And Al, it was a sloppy game at the beginning, but it all turned out well for the team in red.
It really was, and I just can't believe, or I think that Lance Lynn took a real step forward in being the kind of pitcher that goes out there. He struggles early, rights a ship, but then he goes a couple extra innings, gets 7 innings out of that, new career high in pitches thrown for a game, and richly rewarded thanks to Wigginton and company for that heroics.
Holiday homered, but Wigginton a big moment in this game. On to the postgame show. It's coming up next.